Are recording now. As people come in, hey Kiki.
Hey.
So we're gonna start off just with a quick welcome orientation for this evening. We do have a guest speaker scheduled at 6. I'm waiting for his text confirmation because he texted me this morning saying yes, but I just texted him again to remind him that we're on for him at 6. So again, welcome. 2021 is going to be a great year for us, and I am encouraged by all of you guys. I think that 2021 is going to be a great year for you. I said it last year about 2020, and people think that because 2020 went the way that it did, that it wasn't successful. But I have news for you. We have young people on this line that did great in 2020. Like great. Sanai, I know you ran out of product. I know we got a couple of people on here that Jayla got a job. We got a couple of people. Yamadi did excellent with Sister Circle, even changing the format for Sister Circle, and it was very successful. And so I know that it may have seemed like a lot of negative was happening in 2020, but those of us who were starting businesses and keeping our organizations alive were able to benefit and move forward. And so I encourage you to keep going forward for 2021. Hold on one second. Hey, Oluda in the orientation.
Big shout out to Kiara, Matt, Kayla, and Mike, who all in 2020 got into new programs, new job stuff. So we got bigger and better celebrations coming to us.
Okay, so yeah, he'll be on with us and at 6 o'clock. So let's try to roll through these quick orientation points. Program updates. I'm gonna let Mighty start with Sister Circle. Are there any updates for Sister Circle that you would like to give to the group for what's going on in 2021?
Hey y'all, I'm sorry that my face not on here. I'm having problems with my Wi-Fi actually. But for this time around, y'all, we won't be meeting as much as we usually do. We will only be meeting on Fridays. Monday, I will be doing like making sure y'all going to the guest speaker, being the guest speaker with y'all and learning the same things that y'all are learning. But besides that, the changing of the days, it's still gonna be at the same time, and y'all know we're gonna be doing the same things. So yeah, I'm excited.
Do you have any ideas yet about what we've been talking about the podcast and
the podcast, I'm still trying to figure everything out with the podcast. Once that is figured out, the girls I will send y'all a link with the podcast. Y'all know that y'all always open to be on the podcast if you want to be on there. Topics, anything, I'm open to all of that. And any ideas the girls may have about how I should move with Sister Circle, going into a podcast and becoming bigger, I would really like. So within the next 2 weeks or so, I should have, a real plan on what I'm going to do.
YBC, Mr. Jimmy, did you want to handle YBC updates or you want to kick it to Tyreek or Jayla? I put him on the spot, didn't I?
I think in the spirit of how we do things, there's no reason why we can't all handle it. I'll start off, and then anything that Tyreek and Jayla, or Kiara want to follow up with, more welcome to. So the big move for YBC is this quarter. Everything's about structure with us. We're always been really free flowing, and I think that's been a strength for us. But we want to identify a middle ground where we account for the weaknesses of how free flowing we've been. That's like lack of organization. Sometimes communication could be a lot tighter. So what YBC is again every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be moving. There's always other days that we can move. We're trying to build out a Tuesday, Thursday model that has room for regular Zoom meetings on a third day. A big boon that's occurring right now is some dollars that could be coming in between us and Yes and Be More Youth Arts for through these Zoom calls funneling into the town halls. So it's like every week practicing and getting ready for each town hall. It's every month. Young people at every organization not just being able to participate, being able to get some money to participate. So while, as always, everyone stay posted on those dollars, but the apparatus to make it work is being built as we speak. We also have strengthened a partnership between what we're doing and a number of different job programs coming out of this past quarter. 4 of our current participants have moved through our work into these programs, paid with guaranteed employment afterwards. So that's pretty exciting. And I think everything YBC is doing going forward is to continue doing what we've been doing, but building toward that more money and more resources in the pockets of those of us that are participating.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Tyreek, Jayla, you want to add anything?
I don't know. You kind of hit the nail. I don't see anything to add.
What about
Other
this
than,
this vinyl printer that's coming in the next week or two? You got any big ideas for the
man,
vinyl printer?
I had some ideas, but I remember you told us that we would be like focusing on the benches. Did you say?
Yeah.
Or I just remember you saying that we had to focus on a specific plan in order to be like, a little bit more efficient with our work and our time management.
Yeah, moving one project at a time instead of taking a year to complete 4.
Yeah, yeah.
So we are set to have the benches done in 2 weeks. Once the benches are done, some of us will be building lamps for these light bulbs that'll be sold to put money directly in y'all's pockets, and then Tyreek with the vinyl printer, the airbrushes, and all that stuff. Hey, Fick, you'll be sorry about that, y'all. Picking up where Sneaker Freaks left off, doing a bit more coaching of like newer young folks coming in, teach them how to do the shoe thing, and also learning how to use this vinyl printer to make our own custom stencils.
Man, I can't wait until you get that.
Yo, you and me both, bro. You and me both. It's hard enough to play with, but as it's sitting in my house. But we're gonna make this happen.
That's dope. For YEP, I don't see Miss Amber on just yet, but I can give a quick update as to the Wednesday session. So Miss Amber is also, just like Madi, is going to be moving to 1 day. 1 second, people keep calling me. Moving to 1 day on Wednesdays instead of 2 days a week. And Monday will be the guest speaker day for everybody. And so regardless of what, like I was explaining to Yamadi earlier today, we're getting more unified as an organization so that when we have guest speakers or events or whatever we're doing that are part of the entire organization, regardless of what group you happen to be with, these are the things we want to do to bring everybody together. So Mondays is really a together day. Like I said, like guest speakers, events, even if it's virtual events, vending opportunities, things like that are going to be on Mondays. YBC is Tuesdays, YEP Wednesdays. And so Miss Amber, that's when you get with Miss Amber. specific to your projects that she's working with you guys on, whether that's one-on-one, whether that's overall, working with everybody and doing a session on something. And even when it comes to our guest speakers, it won't just be somebody speaking. They'll be giving you pointers on how to start a business, how to write your business plan, the different parts of the structures of a business plan, your financials, keeping your financials in order, how to build your budget. And so those guest speakers are going to be coming on to talk about things that, you guys can definitely benefit from across the board, regardless of what group you're in. And so we want to make sure that we bring those things to the table. And Miss Amber will be doing the hands-on encouragement and the hands-on instruction with you guys specific to your project or your business. For those of you who don't know, you might be new. YBC stands for Youth Build Community. That's our workforce development arm. Mr. Jimmy is the facilitator, and the young people who work with him are the originators for YBC. And they do all things artistic and building and hands-on. But then they also work for that soft skills and family aspect. And so we're all a family in here, but YBC, because they can be in person, it's a little different the way that they are built out. YEP is Youth Entrepreneurship Program. And so that is for young people who come in and they have an idea for a business, and we working with Ms. Amber, you're able to flesh that idea out. If you don't have a business plan yet, it's just in your mind, you're not sure how to navigate it just yet, then she'll help you put it together, put it on paper, and then give you the motivation to keep going. And so as far as the larger organization, we make sure that we get everybody the support that they need. Community leadership and engagement. So as Mr. Jim was talking about the town hall meetings, guys, y'all have no idea. I think that Amira done set y'all up. And she's not on here. She's not available to be on. But she did so well during these last 3 town hall meetings that we were invited to participate in, that it has literally opened doors for all of y'all to be a part of what's going on in the city. For those of you who do not know, I have been tapped. Nick Mosby's office hired me on as a community liaison. So my role is literally to host town hall events with the community members at any community association with young people like yourselves. So I'm literally getting paid by the city to make sure that you guys have a voice, and that not only is your voice heard, because it's great to be at the table and being able to speak, it's another thing that you get the benefit from it. Like Mr. Jimmy was just talking about, and getting those paid opportunities in a career path that could lead you into doing community work in partnership with policies and stuff. And so we want to public speaking. If you're interested in public speaking, if you're interested in having a business and then selling your products during citywide events and having a vending table, these are the types of events that you want to be a part of. These town hall meetings, even the virtual meetings, because we're opening up virtual avenues. If you have an Instagram page, if you have a website, to be able to promote your Instagram page and your website as well. So big things are coming, even through community leadership and engagement. And I want you guys all plugged in, okay? Any questions so far? We good? Oh, y'all are good. Okay. All right. Stipends. So now we're going to talk about the money. So you guys know that we do, young people do earn stipends. There are multiple ways to earn stipends, but everybody does not earn a stipend. You depends on what group you are a part of. So for example, if you are a part of YBC in the workforce development program, then you do earn a stipend. It's $25 per session, no more than $75 per week. That means even if you come 5 days a week, you're only going to get compensated for 3. Why is that? Because that is the budget. And we do want to see you all 5 days. We would love to see you all 5 days for YBC specifically, but YBC isn't even operating all 5 days, right? And so we want to make sure that you have the understanding that when you come in for workforce development and you're learning a trade, you're learning a skill, you're doing something that enables you to earn your stipend for the day. It doesn't mean that you're coming in and you just chilling doing nothing, even though we love for y'all to chill and do nothing. Don't get me wrong. If Mr. Jimmy's like, today's a chill day, we ain't doing nothing. Or Tyreek is the lead for that day, and he like, y'all, we just chilling, we ain't doing nothing but hanging out. That's cool. But the majority of the time when you come in, you should be doing something to earn your stipend. All right. Your attendance is taken. Jada is also on here. I believe she's iPhone. That she's taking your attendance to make sure that you are present. You can earn your stipend through that way, through YBC. YEP, you do not earn a stipend through YEP. Let me repeat that. You do not earn a stipend through YEP. The way that you earn funds through YEP is by participating in the pitch contest. The quarterly pitch contest is where you bring your business idea to a panel. That panel votes on the top 3 people. And so those top 3 people will earn cash prize. They'll earn marketing support. They'll earn a commercial, I believe. The top winner earns a commercial and some other benefits to those 3 people, first, second, and third place winners. It is a big deal. Last year we gave over $1,000 out to those 3 winners in cash. And we've had a group called Phenomenal Wealth Group that's from Atlanta to support our first place winner. We also had Sanai. You probably can do a better job than I can, because her and Kayla, didn't both of y'all? Yeah, both of y'all. If you can speak right quick. 1, we want to know what your business is, and 2, we want to know your experience from participating in the pitch contest. I don't mean to put y'all on the spot, but y'all are here and you did participate. So if you could just give me 1 minute each about your experience, then I would gladly appreciate it.
Okay, so my name is Anna, and I'm the owner of the Blue Boutique. And basically, what we did in the pitch contest was pitch our businesses and learn about more ways we can expand our business and things like that. And they also taught us, like, you need certain things, or they gave us ideas on ways to do things with our business and things like that.
Sanai, could you tell us how much you won? I can't remember how much your stipend was, or your grant was.
I won $100 because I came in third place, and then the first place won around 500, and second place won 200 or 300, I think.
Okay, great, thank you. And Kayla, did you want to talk about your business right quick?
Yeah, I don't mind. Hi everyone, I'm Kayla. I'm the owner of K Self Defense Shop, and yeah, basically the contest, it was a great experience. Like Sanaa said, they asked us questions, and then they gave us advice and some criticism, and it's all about taking criticism, to be honest. And yeah, the first place winner won 500, second place won 200, and the third place won 100. I came in second place, so I won $200.
Awesome. And then also the mentorship component. And I know we have 5 minutes left, and I know Mr. Olu is here, and I know he's going to speak to us in a minute. But I did want to get you guys' opinion about the mentorship aspect of YEP. Because like I said, we'll have a lot of guest speakers coming on to tell you about those wealth opportunities. But we want to make sure that you're getting something out of the mentorship. And that could be from Miss Amber, that could be from Miss Oni, it could be from the Phenomenal Wealth Group, or whoever else you guys have been able, or Milan Butler, whoever else you guys spoke with over the last quarter.
Okay, I would say the mentorship is awesome because Miss Oni, she bought me some onesies for my business, and I was so happy, and I was so grateful. And she also taught me on ways to how to better my business, and things like that. She also put me onto a vendors list, and she's willing to help me with the vendor. Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Only did have a big part into like helping us and giving us advice. I really liked how she gave me advice, and she also like helped me and promoted my business and reached out to me and stuff.
That's so dope. That's so dope. And so the goal is that any of the guest speakers that come on over this course of this year will help in those ways as well. That you guys can get that support, that mentorship, that guidance in not only how to start a business, but how to be successful at running your business. And so that's great. Um, the other way to earn a stipend, I know this is what we were talking about. The other way to earn a stipend is through community leadership. And so community leadership specific to the town hall meetings, that is a stipend activity. So it's not a lot. It's the same thing. It's $25 for your participation. And so if there is, let's just say you're a YBC young person, right? Or a young person that's in the group YBC, and you've gotten your 3 days in already. You're already at your $75 cap, right? But then you also participate in a town hall meeting. So that's coming out of a different line item. So instead of getting your $75 stipend, you would have earned a $100 stipend for that week. So just making sure that everybody is aware that you can do multiple things with multiple activities. Let's just say Tyreek, as an example, is a young man who's starting a business. So he participates in the pitch contest. He wins $200. He's also a YBC young person. He's getting a stipend for $75 per week. He also participates in the town hall meetings, so he's getting $25 for participating in the town hall meetings, right? And so at the end of the month, he could have, really gotten, enough to do something with by being a part of the organization in its entirety. So we want to make sure that you guys understand how the stipends work. And that is a direct pay stipend. You have to be registered. Okay, Mr. Olu, I see you. You have to be registered in the program in order to earn a stipend. You cannot just come in and earn a stipend. You have to be registered, have your attendance counted by Jada, have the team members aware, and you're working with them. And then also, we want to make sure in order for you to earn a stipend that you're doing the thing that you are supposed to earn the stipend for. Okay. Last 2 points, make sure you're registered. That link is going to be in Telegram. If you're not in Telegram, please download Telegram, get into the group, get into the main group. And if you are a part of those other groups, then we'll make sure that you get added to those groups as well. Make sure that your attendance is taken. So Jada's going to be on the Zoom calls. Almost every Zoom call, Jada will be on taking attendance. If you are a team lead, please make sure that you submit attendance to Jada after every session, so we're not chasing you down to get your attendance data for the month. Okay. Make sure you're in Telegram. Make sure you're communicating. Don't do that, Jimmy. That's why we got Matt on your team, right? Make sure you're communicating. Make sure you're texting. Make sure you're on your Telegram. Make sure you're paying attention. Our location, our headquarters is 4236 Pimlico Road. If you have to come to the building for anything, most of our projects are going to be virtual, but every once in a while, you may have to come to the building for a reason. And YBC is in person, but they cannot have more than 10 people in the building at a time. Make sure you wear your mask when you're in the building. Make sure that you are social distancing where you can. Make sure you are using hand sanitizers. Make sure you're using hand sanitizers and washing your hands, okay? And that's across the board. For those of you who don't know, I'm quarantined right now. Literally.
Everyone that comes to the building, we're only able to make it work by establishing our own little bubble.
Yes.
If you are wondering what I mean by bubble, just think NBA Finals. Whenever somebody exits out of that bubble. We had one young person go out on vacation. Our whole thing is we ain't gonna tell you what to do. You're grown. But if you're gonna make that choice, then once you come back, I'll set you up a COVID test, and we gotta see results before we come back. We have our chief number one rule above all rules, and we really don't have too many rules, is we protect the safety of our space. And so this is the only way. Whenever someone moves outside the bubbles, I don't care if I gotta drive you to the test, but we need to get those done before we are able to come back and re-engage, because we ain't trying to jeopardize the safety and sanctuary of our space.
Without further ado, yes. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce you guys to our guest for this evening, Mr. Olu. You're welcome to unmute yourself and introduce yourself and did you have somebody else with you?
Yeah, I think he might have dropped off or something.
Okay. Just introduce yourself, introduce the person, and the questions I sent you earlier are going to be the questions that I'm going to present to you. The young people are here. They don't like to show their faces because, y'all in that generation where you don't like to I don't know, but I do ask young people, if you have a question, if you don't want to put your camera on, to type it in the chat. Okay. If you do, or you are willing to put your camera on to speak and ask those questions you might have. So Mr. Olu, the floor is yours.
But
yes.
real quick, Mr. Olu, I'm so sorry, and I love all y'all. I'm out canvassing up them right now. It's getting to the point where I gotta get off the phone, keep my head on a swivel. So I can't stay any longer, but much love to all y'all. And I look forward to
Stay safe.
Of course, I do what I can.
Please stay safe.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you, Kiki.
You're welcome. Bye.
See you later, Jayla.
See you.
All right. So, Ms. Pender, thank you so much for inviting me on here and just giving us a space to talk with you guys and tell you about what we do. My name is Olu. I'm the owner and founder of Focused Home Buyers. I got an investor with me that I do business with, and he's almost like a mentor to me. He's been in the game longer than me and does different things, and I some more things. I thought he'd be good to be on here too.
Breaking up some.
Can you hear me better now? Yeah, so I'm just saying I started Focused Home Buyers. Appreciate Ms. Pender for letting me come out. I got an investor that I work with who does a lot of business with me and has been in the game longer than me and has deeper experience as well, different experiences. That's Mr. JF here on the call. Hi. Yeah, so I'm here to answer any of your guys' questions. My main goal for today is kind of just to expose you to real estate and just how much opportunity is there, the possibilities it can really create for you, your family, and all of the different opportunities that it brings, especially for people of color like us, and especially when real estate has, not always been an option for our ancestors and people that came before us. It's something that is really powerful. And to be honest with you, if you look at any millionaire or any wealthy person in America, all of them own some bit of real estate. If they didn't get rich off real estate, they're staying rich by owning real estate. So, I'm happy to start with any questions, or if you guys have anything already. I had a couple of things I wanted to talk to you guys about as well. So, let's go in.
All right. So first question was, how did you get started in real estate?
So I'm actually younger. I'm honestly, I just turned 24 in December. So I got started in real estate on accident. I found a YouTube video when I was probably my sophomore year or junior year of college. I saw a YouTube video where a guy said that he made 6 figures and worked 4 hours a week. And after that, it just led me in a rabbit hole. I wanted to figure out how the heck this guy works 5 to 10 hours a week and makes 6 figures, and other people out here busting their butts to do that. That's insane. That's impossible. So that kind of led me down a rabbit hole of reading books about real estate and you know, just learning everything about it. I saw someone ask in the chat, did I go to college? Yes, I went to college. College is a good option for a lot of people. It's not always the best option for everybody, if I'm being honest with you. If I knew everything I knew about real estate now, I may or may not have went to college, but college did teach me a lot in terms of networking, how to interact with people who aren't like me, how to build communities, and how to talk with different people and achieve things. So it definitely has its benefits. But so yeah, I did go to college, and I mean that's essentially how I got started. Once I started reading books, I just started taking action. And JF, I don't know, I'm sure you want to talk a little bit about how you got started too, because we got started different ways.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here. And thank you, Olu, for inviting me. My name is Jean Fleuriot. I go by JF because people can't say Jean Fleuriot unless you took some French classes. I'm a little bit older than Olu. Actually, he could be my son. I actually have a daughter, 25, younger, older than him, and a granddaughter now. But I've been in real estate since 2004 as an investor, buy and hold. So I buy property and rent it out. And it changed my life, actually. Most people in America, the American dream is to own a house, have 2.5 kids, a picket fence, and it's a wonderful thing. In reference to college, yes, I went to college and got a degree in computer science and psychology. Then I went to graduate school, got an MBA in finance. You don't need education, the academic education, in order to do what I do as an investor, but I highly recommend it. Regardless if you're a millionaire or if you try to do that, I highly recommend education. Because no matter what, somebody can rob you, take your money away. They can go in the bank account and take your money away that way, but they can never take your knowledge away from you. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the better and you be equipped to handle whatever obstacles come in life. And education is always a backup plan. If real estate stopped working for me, I could always do a job in computer science or finance. So no matter how much money you have, if you're a rapper, if you're a business person, always go for your education. Don't go any lower than bachelor's. I would say minimum standard should be get yourself a bachelor's degree. If you don't want to get a master's to become a lawyer, that's fine. But at least I tell my children, I got children, and I tell them all, the minimum standard in our household is a bachelor's degree. So now it is important to get real estate because, especially for the African American community, we have been held from a lot of things: education, access to capital, and land. You have to, the one thing that God is not building any more of is land, right? There's a whole lot of things you can get, but there's a finite amount of land on this earth, and you can't get any more of that. So the most you can do is build up, but you can't get any more land. That's, God gave you all that you can get. So get real estate, become a homeowner, become an investor. If you can't become an investor, at least be a homeowner. Because if you don't have a mortgage because you're paying rent, or you don't think you have a mortgage, you're lying to yourself. You do have a mortgage. You're just paying somebody else's mortgage. There is always a mortgage, whether it's you're benefiting from it or someone like me who's a landlord, I'm benefiting. So I love the first of the month when people pay me rent. They hate it because they got to pay the money, but it's a wonderful thing. So definitely, anything you all want to know. It was not easy for me to get into real estate. I got into it passively by getting married. So I kind of married into it. My wife had a house, 2004. But I didn't actively get into it until 4 years ago. So about 2000 and I would say 16. And since that, and I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, didn't have a lot of money, but I ended up buying 13 houses, and I currently own 8 houses, not counting the one I live in. So 7 investment properties, and I sold the other 6 properties. And I met Olu because he sold me a house in Severn for like 173,000. The house is worth, I got it appraised, 333,000. I didn't tell him that, but I appreciate the hookup. But yeah, it changes your life, real estate. It really does. And especially if you become a landlord, You get passive income. You get paid once a month without even getting up and going to work every day, 9 to 5. So while I sleep, essentially I make money the first of the month. So, it's a wonderful thing. Get into it, listen to podcasts, YouTube videos, a lot of free information out there, but don't do yourself a disservice and say, I can't afford it. I'm not smart enough. My parents don't know anything. I don't know anybody. Don't make any excuses. Just get out there, get the knowledge, and help yourself out. Because if you don't, no one's going to do it. Thank you.
Amen to that, brother. And just to add a little bit on the end there, I didn't dive too much in how I specifically got started, but I think this will be extremely valuable for you all in just your age group. JF mentioned I sold him a property. So this is something that anybody could do. If you're under the age of 18, you may need the help of like a guardian for getting paperwork and all of that signed. But in that deal that I sold JF, I found a homeowner that was in a situation and they needed help. I just talked to them and tried to solve their problem, figure out what's going on. And I basically determined the value of the property. All of this gets more technical. I'm just giving you an overview. But once I got it under contract at a price that I thought an investor would like JF, where he could make some money, and also at a price where the owner was happy. And what I did is I put it under contract and I sold my rights to that contract to JF. So JF then got to go deploy capital into the deal, fix it up. And now I think he's renting it out currently. And then a year from now or so, he'll be able to sell it for a huge return on the market. So that anybody can do that. Like JF said, it doesn't require a formal education. Yes, you need to be an expertise or do your research and learn about what's going on behind it and how it works, but anyone can do it. Like I said, I learned from starting on YouTube, reading books, and then finding a mentor who could teach me the game and getting into it. I know a guy in Baltimore City right now. He's younger than me. I think he's 21. And this guy consistently does over $10,000 a month in real estate. Another guy that I work with pretty frequently that started off with me, he did a deal, same one as this one, where he didn't have to flip it himself. He didn't have to be JF, who has to be an expert at his craft and know the ins and outs of a rehab. All he did was wholesale the deal, and he made about $100,000 from just one transaction. And this is the guy, literally, he's 23. He lives in the Baltimore area. So he's Black too, so this is a possibility for you. If you're not interested, it's a possibility for your friends. And, like JF said, this is something that really makes a difference in people's lives, no matter where you come from or what you look like.
And I know a young guy, he's Spanish, from Dominican Republic. He's about 25. He did the same thing that Olu said in DC and made 100,000. And it's nice to say I know a guy, but I'll give you an example where it's not I know a guy, it's me. I bought a house in March of 2019 from a guy like Olu, who's just a wholesaler. He sold me the house, single family house in Baltimore for $75,000. That house got appraised. I didn't fix it yet because I'm renting it. But once I fix it, once I get my tenants out, that house will sell for $325,000. So even after I spend $100,000 to fix it, I will walk off, which is called net. You have gross profit, you have net. That's after gross profit is everything, what you sell it for, and then you subtract your expenses. Then that delta, the difference, is your net. So once everything is done, I will net walk away with $150,000. And I'm a licensed realtor, so I know my numbers and being degree in finance and everything else. So, and I've done it so many times, so I know what I'm going to walk off with. Not to mention the house 3 doors down that looks exactly like mine sold for $325 in August. So I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna get that price. So it won't be one of those I know a guy. It'll be I am the guy. So somebody else would say, I know a guy. This guy named JF made $150,000. I'm like, yeah, that's true. It did happen. So it can change your life. It's nice, but you got to know some business stuff. So like, let's say you make $100,000 on one deal. You don't just go out there and buy a Bentley, a Mercedes, and get the spinners and the gold teeth and stuff. that's fronting like you're rich. That, you know, you got rich people, you got wealthy people. Don't do that, because when you do that, get all those fancy blingy objects, what you're doing is you falling into the trap that our people have fallen into, which is trying to front like they got something. And all you're doing is advertising for somebody who want to stick you up, who want to come after you. So don't do that. Be low key. If you got $100,000, $1,000,000, don't go out there and tell people and put it on Instagram and show a bunch of money, because that's how people are going to start, you know, checking you out and trying to befriend you, try to rob you. Don't do that. Put your money in the bank, buy some stocks, buy some bonds, buy some more real estate. Be smart. The people like Warren Buffett, you don't see Warren Buffett, which a lot of young people don't know who he is, but he's got beaucoup dollars, you know, or the guy who owns Google. Those people, they don't walk around with the gold chains. It's the new money that wants to try to perpetrate like they got money and they owe tons of taxes. They do all that gold chain. Don't do that. Don't advertise your money. And all you're doing by buying the Gucci and the Bentley is you making them rich. The people who own Bentley and Gucci, they don't look like us. They love your money, but you're not helping yourself out. Help your family, help your mother, your grandmother, help your children, and build generational wealth. So like, I don't want to get too biblical, but the Bible says wealth is for your children's children. So I live by that principle. You know, I want to save not just for myself, but I want my grandchildren to be well off. So you want to be able to make so much money that it can last 3 generations. That's wealth, not helping Mr. Gucci, Mr. Bentley, Mr. Mercedes. They don't care about you, but they'll take your money. So just keep that mess. That's knowledge is power. That's what I'm saying. Educate yourself and understand when you go out there, you buy Nike, you're not supporting yourself, your community. You support Mr. Nike. So be low key, enjoy yourself, spend your money, make yourself feel good, but don't go overboard by just making other people richer. So that's
I think one example that highlights that is just Jay-Z and his chains and how he's done that. So overall, you know, real estate is really, it can be an ATM and generate a lot of funds, but it's also something that can build wealth. I didn't know if you guys had any specific questions for us or things that you wanted to talk about. But any more questions, please, you know, drop them in the chat or let Ms. Pender know so she can present them to us.
I got, what do you enjoy most about your work?
So for me, I like solving problems. I like providing value and just seeing how I can help people out. And also, I think real estate is interesting, just me personally. So what I like about it is that I'm talking to different people on a daily basis. I'm not bored doing the same thing every day. I pick and choose who I work with doing real estate. I like JF. You know, if I didn't like JF, we wouldn't work together. I like making money with JF. So that's one thing that I definitely love about it. And I really love that I can put my hands on something and then see where it's at in the beginning and see where it's at the end of the process, know that I created value in that process, and then see that result by seeing my bank account go up. That's what I like about what I do.
What I like about real estate is that it allows me to build something that I can pass off to my children, so the generational wealth. So unlike a lot of people who do what I do, I don't do this full time. So I have a regular job. I work for the federal government. I work for the Postal Service. I work at Postal Headquarters. I'm an IT project manager. So I went to school for computers and that's what I do. So the beauty of what I do as an investor is I can be a garbage man. I could work at Wawa's, McDonald's, and I can still do this on the side because it doesn't require me to be somewhere at some time every single day. It's not like a regular part-time job you gotta go. I can do it at nighttime. I could do it on my phone. Olu sends a text to a bunch of investors, which is myself. I'm considered a cash buyer because I buy houses in cash. And I look at it, I can say, yes, I'll buy it, or yes, I'll take a look at it, or can I see it at this time? I can go after work. So it's at my own leisure. So I love the fact that I can build something for my family. That's what, because to me, it's not really about me, because I do very well. I'm married. My wife does very well financially. I do well financially. This is just extra play around money that I can do for my children. And Chris Rock has a funny joke, and I'll say this one. He says, when white people die, they leave their children wills. When black people die, they leave their children bills. And it's so true. My father, when he dies, I'm gonna have to pay for his funeral. He don't have life insurance. He don't have anything. When I die, my children are gonna get trust accounts. They're gonna get real estate, rentals. They're gonna get those type of things. So that's the other beauty. It's the mental, it's the freedom of thought that you will not be a burden onto your children because you failed to prepare properly for them. So that's why I love the most, is the freedom that it will give me.
I think another thing that I want to add on to is that anybody can do this, regardless of your age, whether you're about to graduate high school or already graduated high school, or you're 50, 80, or if you're, 19, anybody can really do this business. And in terms of like getting started in that, the beautiful thing about real estate is that there's so many ways to provide value to people like JF or people like myself or homeowners in general, that there's always a space for young people or minorities to get into the industry in different ways and make plenty of money, whether that's through wholesaling, which you can find through, plenty of people on Instagram, or even things like creative financing, where if you're looking to buy a property and you don't necessarily have a lot of funds, you can use the financing that the owner of a property might have already gotten, or other people's money to build your portfolio. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about in real estate is, or they do actually. A lot of people say no money down. Yes, in some cases that's true, but a lot of times there's a little bit of money required. The trick to that is you can use other people's money. I know y'all have heard songs like that where they talk about other people's money and stuff like that, but it's a real thing. So you might be able to get into a real estate deal with using someone like JF's money. Yes, he's an investor, so maybe if you say the right things to him and you show him the proof that it's a good deal, he might be willing to fund the deal. You all you did was bring him the deal, and now you guys can work with him. JF might not be down for that, but somebody else may be. I don't want to bore you guys.
I would. A lot of people do that. Loan money. They're called private lenders, which are different than banks. So I would do that if the deal is right and you know what you're doing. If anything, that means I don't have to do the hard work of chasing contractors, going to Home Depot. So yeah, a lot of people who do what I do, they also lend. And I'm also a believer of the good book says, be a lender, not a borrower, the head, not the tail. So my ultimate goal is to be a lender. I want to have so much money that's oozing out that I just lend it to other people to do what I'm doing. So I don't have to run around, go to Home Depot, go this place, go that place. So yeah, that's the ultimate goal for me, to be the bank.
You're speaking our language. I shared with Olu as a nonprofit organization, we have a hard time sometimes with getting the grants. Because being grassroots organization in Baltimore, so many of us, we're spread thin, and we're kind of sharing the same pot of money that the city can kind of give out and divvy out little bit here and there. So as an organization, I don't know if you guys know, we have a workforce development program that our young people learn about construction, specifically at the and Tyreek can probably speak better than I can about what they learn when it comes to entry-level construction. And so we've decided to get into real estate as an organization. And what does that mean? What does that look like? And so we are right now planning what that's going to look like, so that we can continue to have our programs and we can continue to pay our young people for their apprenticeships and their entrepreneurial efforts. And so if you guys could speak to that for a second, and then also what are the biggest challenges that you face in your industry?
You can go, Olu.
I was just going to say, I'm not 100% sure what the impact would be operating out of a nonprofit in terms of what like rules that would apply there. because that, like with real estate, there are rules and stuff that apply to how you operate. So I'm not sure exactly how it would be done in that fashion. But I know, I'm sorry.
I said we
No,
actually can. Yeah, I started doing some of the research. It's really the same. It's no real difference. If anything, we would set up a for-profit LLC that would then be a part of it, or an S corp, which is a social corporation that will be attached to our nonprofit. And so it can be done, and we're doing the research right now to make sure that we're in compliance with the state and the government.
Awesome.
actually, that would be a wonderful thing. It can be done because I also go to the church like in Pennsylvania, and my pastor over there, he has a nonprofit through the church, 501c3, and he buys real estate. He doesn't buy real estate. The advantage of having a nonprofit is you can get the real estate for free. So he gets real estate for completely free from like Wells Fargo, Bank of America. All those banks have something called a disposition manager. So remember that title, disposition manager. That's who you're looking for. If you contact Wells Fargo, you look for the disposition manager. Those are the people who have, those houses that are foreclosed. That's those people. They're very hard to get in touch with because they hold the keys to everything you want. So he gets houses completely free, not for $1, not for $1,000. He gets them free where I got to pay for them. That's the advantage of getting a nonprofit, and it's a win-win. So you would ask, why would somebody give you a house for free? Well, it's simple. They don't like you. What it is you helping them out. So if you want a house, let's say in DC or in Laurel, and you're a nonprofit, you go to Wells Fargo's website. They actually have a section on the website where it says foreclosed properties. And if you're a nonprofit, you can go there. I know about Wells Fargo. That's where he gets most of his houses. Wells Fargo and TD Bank, those are the two main companies. They're not doing it because they like the nonprofit per se. They're doing it because by law, they have to give a certain amount of money back to the community in which they operate. It's called it was in 1974, it's called the Reinvestment Act. So by federal law, companies, organizations at a certain size, so if you make a certain amount of dollars, which is income, and you have a certain amount of employees, you have to file that Reinvestment Act, which says 10% of your income has to be reinvested back in the community in which you operate. So they have a slew of money, tons of money, and tons of property that's not doing anything. They're not making any money. It's been foreclosed on, and they're not in the business of being landlords. They're in the business of loaning people money to become landlords, to being investors. They're not trying to manage it. They just want the money. So once you get the disposition manager, they have a list of property that they don't really need anything. And some of them need something, need work. Others don't need much work. And they'll give you some of them. Now, some of them have people in it, so it's occupied. And then some of them are vacant. So it's easier to get the vacant ones because it's a little bit more difficult trying to evict people and everything else. But so if they give you a property, let's say it's worth $200,000 and they give it to you for free, the advantage to them is they write off $200,000. So on their taxes, they're essentially, let's say they would have had to pay $500,000 in taxes. By writing off and donating that house to you, they subtract $200,000. So it works for them. It's as if they pay $200,000 to the IRS. So it's a win-win. It helps them because now they don't have to owe the IRS that $200,000, which is called taxable liability. And it's a win for you because you did not have to pay $200,000 to buy it. So it's a perfect marriage of people who companies who want to donate and people who don't have, or company like yours, nonprofit, who don't have $2,000 to pay. So yes, disposition manager, they manage all those assets. They're not going to easily want to tell you who those people are, but if you know the title, you just contact them and say, hey, can you transfer me to the disposition department? And then you just make up a nice fancy title for yourself. Oh, I'm the director of blah, blah, blah company. They love big titles. And then you get the right person. You might have to make like 4 or 5 phone calls, but trust me, that contact information will be worth gold. And they'll send you the application, because I contacted somebody and told them about it. They ended up getting a house in Baltimore. It got to the point where Wells Fargo were trying to give them too many houses, and the person couldn't do anything with it because unfortunately, they weren't in the position to take advantage. So just keep that in mind also. Success is where preparation meets opportunity. So don't ask for the opportunity. I don't want a free house, and you're not prepared. What are you gonna do with it? Do you have a plan? Do you have any money to fix it? Now you're not gonna be successful. Have both. Be prepared so when the opportunity comes, you can carpe diem and take advantage.
Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you. You hear that, Tyreek? He's still on mute. All right. Sorry, Mr. Olu. The question was, what are the biggest challenges that you face in your business?
No. Wait, I walked away. Can I talk? I have some questions for them.
Sure.
I have about like 2 to 3. Okay, so one of my questions is, so like, do y'all have any, well, y'all kind of answered that just now. My question was, do y'all have any suggestions on how we could connect our like business or our program to I don't know, claiming or using vacant houses? Because that was like one of our biggest plans going forward. And my other question was, now I don't know.
No,
I can help you out with that. If you have, there are a lot of CDCs. I don't know if you're familiar with CDC, Community Development Corporations.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay, excellent. So they'll give you grants
I'm familiar.
in order to either buy a house or fix a house. So let's say your company, your not-for-profit wants to get houses, maybe to create a learning center, computer lab to train the young people. You want to apply for a grant. So you want to have that written up, what your mission statement is, your vision, what your plan. So if they give you $200,000, what will you do with that? And then because you're a nonprofit, they want to be all up in your business. So they want receipts. They want to see pictures. So if you have an event and you're training young people on computers, they want to see pictures of that. So it's a lot more administratively intensive when you're a nonprofit. Someone like myself, who's an LLC, the government's not in my business as much because I don't apply for grants. But if you want free money, they want to make sure you spend the dime.
Yeah, that we're using it properly. And we're actually practicing we're getting used to that process because we've been in not a vacant house. This is owned by someone, but a house that needs renovation. And we've been practicing like taking pictures of the demolition, what we're our planning, going into the house, analyzing the problems, what needs to be fixed, and applying for grants. We have been applying for grants.
Y'all doing some work, okay?
We want to buy that one too.
Yeah, we're trying.
There's a lot of
okay.
out there. They're
Jayla, that's isn't that the house that we're fixing for the client?
Okay.
Yeah, well, we could talk about that later.
So I mean, just my perspective, like I'm not 100% versed on what your guys' goals are. Like, do you guys want to hold properties to supplement?
We want to build the community. Like our goals are very like let's say diversified. They're all over the place, but they all have the common goal of like fixing the community in some way or building the community in some way.
And getting our own land.
And
also,
a lot of what we want to own. What we want to own the property for is for a lot of times for people that like are less fortunate or that are like, homeless.
Like low income
so
people?
So we've had some young people, some homeless young people. We've had situations where young people were put out, situations where they look over 20 but not ready to step out yet. So giving them opportunities for home ownership and a rental that they can afford. So that's a part of the nonprofit goal. And then also to flip other homes in order to give us the funding to operate our regular entrepreneur program or continuing with the workforce development and construction program. So I didn't mean to pull it from you, Tyree. Go ahead, baby.
Nah, I'm glad y'all are helping me out, so that like when I slow down, y'all can pick up for me.
And I think you guys have a unique opportunity, Tariq, and everybody else in the group, just being a nonprofit. Like some of the things, JF, mention, like I said, this is a mentor for me. Like he just taught me something about the nonprofits. I knew nothing about
About
that.
the disposition manager, I memorized that. I wrote that down.
Yeah, good. Write it down. Take some notes. There's some more good stuff coming for sure. So, I mean, you guys have a unique opportunity because the thing about Baltimore is we all know there's a lot of vacants, right? So there's certain areas where you can find a vacant that's in the right pocket, that it's still a good area to invest in. And it's not hard to get a list of these vacant properties in the city. And what you guys can do is reach out to these people who own these vacant properties and just contact them and see if they'd be open to possibly selling. And since you guys have the unique position as being a nonprofit, if you have those grants and that money built up for buying properties and building wealth for the organization, you can actually, the organization itself, buy those properties and use those grants or hard money to fund the flip. But if you're looking to do vacant properties, there's plenty of opportunity in Baltimore City, and that money from those grants and donors and stuff is going to make it a lot easier to find that. All you'd really need is to find someone who knows what they're doing in a project, like a general contractor and things like that, to make sure that it goes smoothly and that the money is used the right way.
Thank you.
Another way you can get money is you can find, other than grants and your own money from fundraising, if you find donors. So like, let's say hypothetically, I know a guy who did a deal, made $100,000. Government, IRS, Uncle Sam, they're gonna want 15%, which is called capital gains tax, short-term capital gain. So if you own a property for less than 1 year and you sell it, you make profit, they want short-term capital gains. And then they want regular capital gains, which is whatever your tax rate is. So you're gonna pay at least 15%. So if you at, let's say, the 19th percentile, so you pay 15% plus 19%. You see what I'm saying? That's how, but it is what it is. We all know it. I have to pay it all the time also. And you try to find ways to minimize your taxable liability. But people like myself and other investors, let's say, who make 100,000 on a deal or 50,000, we're gonna have to pay that taxes anyway. There's not a whole lot of ways around it unless you want to go to prison with nice little silver handcuffs. We don't want to do that. So that money's gonna go either to the IRS or to taxable charity. So if you find donors, investors, you can appeal to them, say, listen, we're looking for donation because we're trying to do this. This is our mission statement. Well, if I have to pay, let's say, 50,000 to the IRS, whether I give the 50,000 to your company or give it to IRS, the 50,000 is gonna go. If I don't give it, they're gonna take it. So if I give it, then I could tell Uncle Sam, hey, I already gave 50,000, that's 50,000 less. So sponsors, similar to what Olu said, if you get private donors, if they are in line with your mission, what you're trying to do, and it appeals to them, they would give you some of the money, as long as you give them a tax receipt, because that's what we want. We want it to be taxable.
And what you guys are doing, it's not going to be hard to find donors like that. And if you get a good amount of them, like say you have 5 to 10 of those donors, now instead of you guys having to apply for a grant every time, instead of going through that tedious process, you have an ATM right there. You have all these donors who believe in you. And I see Miss Pender shaking her head. Yup, she got it. You got these people who believe in you, your ideas and what you're trying to do. And, like JF said, that's a benefit for them. So anytime you come to them with a project, show them what's going on, show them the results of what their donations are doing for you guys in the community, that money is going to keep coming. It's going to almost be unlimited. They're just going to tell you to take their money. They don't want it back. So
right.
it's
because they got to give it up anyway. And here's a little trick. If you want money from people with money, what they love is they want to seem humble. They want to seem like, oh yeah, I'm giving you the money. But what they love is getting credit. So like if you have like a news thing that you publish or something on a website, you can do something like our silver donor or our platinum donor, like 100,000 level. We're gonna premiere you on our website, and now they're gonna send it to their other people in their golf course and members in their fraternity, their Mason lodge. Look, I'm a silver donor. When you have a lot of money, you want to brag, but you want to be low key bragging. You want to say that you're saving the world, but you love little things like, ooh, I'm at a silver level because I donated 50,000. And then now your buddy who's also at your status, he wants the gold status. So now it's gonna be a competition because like, look, I don't want silver, I want gold. What do you got better than gold? So, and then you can get them to make money year after year after year, because if they're successful, they're going to be doing this year after year after year. So they're going to need somewhere to park their money. So you're actually helping them unload this burden, which is the taxable liability they're going to have to pay anyway. So that becomes a win-win.
I have another question for y'all, but thank you just for like opening another avenue that I don't think we thought about before, because private doing sound like an amazing idea. But my question is, what is the process to like becoming a like landowner?
You
Like,
just gotta buy the land. Just
do it through a title company. Find you a good title company, put a contract on it, put the EMD down, and
landlord,
like you said,
landlord is what I meant to say. Landlord is what I meant to say.
Oh.
There's different ways, man. JF, he's a landlord.
I love being a landlord. And I see where you're going with your business. It's a beautiful thing. If y'all can get to the point where you buying back the block and you own like a whole block, that is like the new thing in 2020 and 2021, buying back the block. If you buy the block, whether it's Baltimore, Bowie, it's gonna be hard at Bowie because Bowie blocks are expensive. I live in Bowie. It's gonna cost you a pretty penny. But if you can buy a block, and they're giving these things away in Baltimore, it's like a fire sale. Like you can
at Park Heights. So yeah.
Oh my goodness, they got properties like 3,000, 5,000, and then they give you money to fix it. And then if you're trying to be a landlord, the Baltimore City loves that. If you're trying to do what I do, they kind of like turn the other cheek and stuff, like, oh, he's just trying to make a killing. But if you're trying to buy it and then keep it, oh my goodness, they will throw money at you in Baltimore. Unbelievable. Baltimore City, I mean, not the county. City, they throw money at you. The process is very simple. You find a property that you want to buy, and whether it's vacant or whether it's already occupied, you buy it. Hopefully you buy it below market rate, and then you put a couple of dollars to fix it up, and then you find a tenant. Either you find a tenant or you hire a property management company, and they'll do all the research by checking the person's credit history, their bankruptcy history, any issues, and then they'll send that report to you with, like, let's say 4 or 5 applicants, and then you decide which applicant you want based on their work experience. If you want vouchers, people who are Section 8 or have, or maybe military vouchers, there's so many voucher programs out there. Or if you want what we call market tenants, which are people who are paying cash, which means they don't have a voucher or any subsidies. So you tell them what you're looking for, they find it. They usually charge you like 10% per month to manage that property for you. And then they'll do everything. They'll collect the rent, they'll send you reports, they'll go and do the inspections for you, making sure that the place is being kept properly. If something is wrong, like the toilet bowl is broken or any maintenance issue, they will handle all that. They'll call you first, ask your permission, say, hey, the tenant contacted us. Do you want us to go ahead and send someone? And they'll send someone, let's say Roto-Rooter will go out, fix the problem's $200. You don't have to pay the $200 out your pockets then. The way it works is when the tenant pays rent the next month, let's say the rent is $1,000. So the property management company pays the $200 to the Roto-Rooter the minute they fix it. So the next month when rent is paid, instead of you receiving $1,000, you receive $800, and you'll see it itemized why. So it's pretty much hands off if you have a property manager. I have, like I said, 7 rentals. I personally manage 6 of them. One of them I have a property manager just because I wanted to experience what it's like using a property manager, not because I couldn't do it myself. I just wanted to do a comparison, pros and cons, to see if they can do a better job than me. So far they cannot. I do a better job than them, but I continue paying them because I really don't care, because 10% is like whatever. You know, it comes out, no, it's $100. I'm charging them $26.50. It's in Bowie. It's literally 5 minutes away from my house. I live in Bowie. I used to live in Bowie. The other part of Bowie is 5 minutes away. It makes no sense for me to pay a property manager. But I guess when you have cash flow coming, you're not really stressing $100 here, $100 there. You don't really care. At least I don't, because I have multiple sources of income. It's not a big deal to me.
To me, this points out to the something I said earlier about real estate. There's so many ways to make money and create opportunities. One thing JF mentioned is that like sometimes a property management doesn't do as good as him. I hear landlords say that all the time. So there's an opportunity here for your guys' business, Tariq, and Ms. Pender, if you guys add that property management element. Like, yes, you have to hire a property management, like JF said, and kind of watch them and get an idea of the process. But once you guys have a lockdown on that, you guys have an organization to where it can be a training process to where you're training someone how to perfectly manage a property. And now you can market that out. So it's not just you're losing 10%. Now you're keeping that 10% and creating another stream of income for the nonprofit. And then in terms of creating income, there are real estate. There's like two worlds to it in my mind. There's like the commercial world, and then there's like the dark underworld, which is like investors. So you got like retail buyers and real estate agents and investors. So that means there's two ways to buy properties, because you can buy it the traditional way with a mortgage and a loan, which would require a lot of upfront capital. But when you get to the more underworld side of things, like creative financing, now you can use a $50,000 grant, and instead of deploying it to one or two properties, you can now spread that 50,000 creatively over 5 to 10 properties, just by doing creative transactions like owner financing or buying a property subject to the financing already in place, meaning you just get the deed and keep the mortgage or the financing in place, and a bunch of other stuff. Like I could sit here and bore you about it all day, but there's so many ways to do real estate, whether it's the traditional way or more creative and investor ways.
I won't be bored. If you do that, I won't be bored because we've been trying to figure it out. We've been trying to figure it out. And a lot of times, we know that the information is there, like on YouTube or in a book, like how you found it. But to just talk one-on-one with a person is always better.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Miss Pender, feel free to, pass my number to Tariq. You have my number, Miss Pender. Feel free. I'll drop it in the chat too. And I think JF dropped his information as well.
Yeah, it was actually the next question. Like, how would you feel about bringing on apprentices was the next question. Because that is another part of what we do. We set up young people in a specific industry so that they can learn about the industry. And so, yep.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I don't mind because I believe it's important to pass on knowledge and not be stingy and selfish with it. So educate, like I educate Olu as often as I can. We have meetings and I talk to him and I hip him onto the game because I've been doing this a lot longer than he has. And I've even wholesaled before. I just don't like it because it's not sexy enough for me. It's too boring. I'm not that kind of person. I'd rather get the house and roll up my sleeves and I know I'm gonna make money than send out 1,000 flyers and make 1,000 phone calls. It depends on your personality. So no, I don't mind doing that. But I'm gonna give you a freebie. There's a bank, write this one down, First National Bank. They are in DC. They are a black bank. They merged with another bank in Atlanta, and now they are the largest black bank, one of the largest, they're the second largest black bank out there. And they loan money to two types of people, LLCs or companies and nonprofits. So they won't loan it to me personally, but they love nonprofit organizations and they love entities. So I contacted them because I was gonna get a loan, but they're slow as molasses in the wintertime. So keep that in mind. They're not gonna be fast, but they will give money and they give you crazy low rates. If you're patient, there could be a good option versus like the big banks, PNC, BBT, and that kind of stuff. But if you have a nonprofit 501c3 or 501c4, they're set up for that. They're set up to loan you all money. Or if you have an LLC like a C Corp or the S Corp. So they're a good bank also to work with.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And I'm also a licensed realtor. I don't know if I mentioned that also. So You don't have to be a realtor to do what I do, to be investors. I would say 90% of people who do what I do are not realtors. And I would say 90% of realtors don't do what I do because they don't understand it. Because a realtor is typically a person who goes out, helps someone buys a house, helps someone sell a house, helps someone rent a house. They don't understand, well, two things. One, they don't make enough money to invest. Unfortunately, most realtors are broke. They only make enough money to barely sustain themselves, unfortunately, because if you're doing it full time, you don't make a lot of money doing that unless you sell like $1 million houses, because you're only really working for 3%. You'll sell a house for 6%, but you gotta give 3% to the other side, the buyer's agent. So you sell a house $100,000, you're gonna make $3,000. And then keep in mind, you gotta pay capital gains tax, all your advertising fees and everything else. And then you're not selling a $100,000 house every other day. You might get one today, one in June. It takes a while for you to get the engine going. So that's why most realtors are not investors. They don't have the disposable income to go out there and purchase a house or to renovate a house, or they don't have the contact to lenders, direct lenders or banks or hard money lenders in order to do that, because they spend their time advertising for more business to further the real estate business. Whereas me, I'm a realtor for the explicit reason of representing myself. I have an LLC, Lucky Street Properties LLC. So I became a realtor knowing that all I really needed was one client, which is me, myself, and I. And I can get into the houses faster. So if Olu's an investor like myself, and he sees a house on the MLS or on Zillow and Redfin, I can get to the house way faster than he can ever get to, because he has to first call his realtor and hope that the realtor answers the phone, because they might be showing somebody else a house. And then when he gets the realtor, hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, I found a house, I want to get to it. When? Tomorrow. Well, no, I'm showing another house. I can't show you tomorrow. So they'll show him the day after tomorrow, but by then I'm already in the house. I already made an offer. I already got accepted. By the time Olu gets into the house, I've already beat him. Even if he was going to pay more, it's too late because I sealed the deal. So that's why I became a realtor. So I can beat people to the punch buying house in MLS. The other reason is most realtors. So if I'm Olu's realtor, he called me and said, hey, I want to buy a house, JF. It's for, I found it, it's 50,000, I want to buy it. I'm like, 50,000? Man, I'm not going to go show you a house for 50,000, because I'm calculating 3% of 50,000 is nothing burger. I'm not trying to show you a house for $1,500 that I'm going to make on it. No, you call me when you find a house for 800,000. So realtors get paid on commission. We're not wasting time on $50,000 house, $20,000 house, $10,000 house. No, because we're not making any money. And if I show you the house for 10,000, what if you don't buy it? Not wasting my time going out to Baltimore. No. So it's hard finding what we call an investor-friendly realtor, one who understands how investors move, that investors looking to buy cheap, and then hopefully you're gonna make money because they're gonna give you volume. They're gonna do it over and over and over. So most realtors don't want to touch investors because investors buying, they don't want to pay more money for the house. They want to buy it cheap. Now, unless they're a flipper, they're gonna buy 400, sell for 300. The investor, the realtor just wants you to call them when you're selling for 300 because they make more money. They don't want you to waste your time with a $100,000 house. Let me know when you fixed it, Olu, and you selling for 300. Then I'm your man. But if you want to buy 400, I'm not driving all the way to Baltimore from Bowie for that, because you might not want it now, wasting my gas. I got to pay tolls. So that's the other issue with realtors. It's hard finding a realtor who's going to want to show you house and invest it, because they know investors are cheap as heck. They don't want to pay nothing. And it doesn't work to their advantage. So I experienced that. My realtor showed me 2 houses and they started ghosting me, stopped answering my calls, stopped answering my texts. So I said, you know what, that's all right. I'm a becoming realtor, so I don't need to call you. And I did that, and I do significantly more business than my former agent.
That's the key. All right, so we have 5 minutes left. Thank you so much, guys. So as you guys know, maybe you don't know, the young people on this line range between age 14 to 21. And so majority are in that 16, 17, 18 age range. And so the last question for you guys, Olu and JF, are, what is some advice you wish you could tell your 16-year-old self about business? Because also keep in mind that these young people are already business owners. They already have LLCs, most of them, and they're already, as you heard Tariq say, who is 16, that they are already interested in real estate. So if you could tell your 16-year-old self who was already kind of doing it, what advice would you give?
Well, one, I'm proud of y'all for already, taking that action and initiative. If y'all got any questions about business, feel free to contact me anytime. If I could tell myself anything, it would just be the value of consistency, persistency, solving problems, and providing value. Like, you really don't realize how far those things go, helping other people. And just, if you have a goal in mind, doing that thing every day or on your consistent schedule, and being persistent about it, working it all the way through to the end, doing it right the first time, not, halfway through in it, because at that point, it's not a business, it's not a goal, it's just a hobby for you. So that's one thing that I made a mistake. I'd be a lot further ahead of where than I am now if I would have taken those things when I was first finding out about this, when I was kind of close to that age range. It's just being persistent, being consistent, doing it every day, doing it at the time I'm going to say I'm going to do, and hitting those daily milestones that I'm aiming for whatever your goal is, and then tracking that action that you're doing. So really, for me, I'll just repeat it one more time. It's just being consistent, being persistent, providing value to other people, and solving other people's problems. No matter what business you're in, that's going to take you a lot further than anybody who's just good at what they're doing, if that's all they have to show for
That was really good, Olu. Gotta follow that up, huh?
it.
I would like to say congratulations to you all, because I sure as heck was not doing that kind of stuff when I was 17. I was playing basketball. I didn't understand business. I wasn't really after that. So that's fantastic. I couldn't even spell LLC when I was 16 years old. So you all are phenomenal. I'm impressed. If anything, my 25-year-old, she don't have a clue. So y'all gonna have to mentor her. But the biggest advice I would give you is to educate yourself. When I was growing up and I was 16, I grew up in the, I don't think I even told Olu this, I grew up in the foster care system in New York. I'm from New York, so I was in foster care, ward of the state from age of 9 until I aged out. I stayed there until I went to college and graduated. So all I can do is just try to, you have mental issues when you're growing up without your family and you grow up with strangers. So chasing money, setting up LLC was not our thing. It was more of, let me just try to survive in the mean streets of Brooklyn and Long Island. So that's where I'm from. But my biggest advice that I would give my 16-year-old self is educate myself. I would say get as much knowledge as possible, whether it's the stock market. Like I came from Wall Street, so I'm like one of those stories that you hear, came from a third world country, because I did. I came from Haiti, but not the Haiti you see on TV, people eating mud sandwiches. I had maids and stuff like that. So some of us had money out there. We had money, but so money wasn't a huge thing to us because all we try and do is maintain our mental sanity. But my 16-year-old self, I would say educate myself. Like my big thing is stock market, because I worked in Wall Street. You can make more money in the stock market than you can in real estate, but the difference is you need more money invested starting off in the stock market to make that money. Real estate, you don't need as much. And then you can do very well. So when I started off really active in real estate 4 years ago, I think my net worth was like 15,000, and most African Americans have a negative net worth. I had to do a little personal financial statement, and I'm like significantly over there. I'm talking about when you have commas in your net worth, I'm at that point now. So it's significantly better, but educate yourself, whether it's real estate, whether it's the stock market, whether it's crypto, whether it's land, get as much knowledge as possible. I didn't do that until I got older, until I got more established. So definitely I would say go to college. Even if you do this on the side, go to college, because no matter what happens, no man on earth will ever take your knowledge away from you. But they can always take your money. So go to college. Don't just chase that money. The money's going to come. There's a law called, the law of money says money attracts money. So the more successful you are, the more successful you're going to be. And that's a reality. So like when I go get a loan now, because I got like an 805 credit score, the banks throw money at me at like 2%, 1%. But when I had a 600 credit score, no, we don't want to talk to you. I'm the same guy. So money wouldn't come to me when I wasn't educated and I didn't understand credit and how credit works and paying off your debt, why it's important to pay it on time and that kind of stuff. So it was hard for me to get money. And the other thing you need to understand, I didn't understand when I was young, is that banks give money to people who don't need the money. It sounds counterintuitive. So if you go to a bank, you want a mortgage, and you want a $200,000 mortgage. Well, if you're making $40,000 or $10,000 a year, they're not gonna give you that money. But if you're making $1 million a year, they're gonna give you the money. But you don't need the money if you're making $1 million a year. So that's the key. They give money to people who don't need the money. Meaning, if you need the money and you're desperate for the money, they're thinking, you're not going to pay me back because you need the money to live on and to pay your bills and daycare and everything else. But if you don't really need the money, you just want to leverage it, well, there's a good chance I'm going to get my money back. So you are low risk. So banks will always give money to people who don't need money. They give you more money and they give it to you at better rates. It's the people who needs it, the Pookies, the Ray, the Tyrones, they're the ones who struggle. So educate yourself, respect credit, respect debt, and you'll do well.
I got one last thing to add on to what JF said. Y'all, this is specifically for our generation and the people who come after us, but y'all have these cell phones and iPads and laptops. JF said knowledge is power. Use these devices you have to grow your knowledge, to do business, and to make more money and create a wider network and opportunity, because few people before us had this opportunity at our age with these devices in your hand. You can contact anybody in the world. Please don't waste your time just watching funny videos and fights when you can be out here networking, making money, working on your business, and doing so much insane stuff, literally from the palm of your hand. Don't waste this device and the power of it. And really, if you start taking advantage of this, how you're really supposed to use it, your net worth is gonna jump out the water for real. You're gonna have commas like JF and me in the future.
Yes, indeed.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Hey, man, I know you would. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your positive energy. And God is doing a great thing. Yes, He is in 2021. Even though we had our struggles in 2020, it's going to be a great year. And thank you guys, got us off to a perfect start. If you didn't know, today is our first day back from the winter session. And so you guys got us jump started and fired up and ready to go and conquer 2021. So thank you again for your time. I will be letting you guys know, what we have going on. If you guys want to come back and speak some more different topics that we'll have going on over the months, you're welcome to do so. And again, thank you so much. Thank you, young people.
Thank you, young folks. God
yes,
bless.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Have a blessed one.
Have a blessed one.
You too.
Bye.
White show over there as well. Hey. Y'all have
Thanks
a
for
good
inviting
night.
me.
I know, right?
So this is every Monday, 5 to 7.
Yes, we have different conversations.
Okay, all right. So every Monday, 5 to 7. Is there like because I had you sent the information to me